Hello, hello, hello. What is up? What's going on, guys? Hope y'all are off to an amazing week. Hello, hello. I'm going to give everyone a couple seconds to jump on in, but it is good to be back. Good to see you all. Good to be in this space. Ugh. Man, what is up? What is up, fellow D prescribers? It is Dr. Delon Canterbury, the founder of the Deprescribing Accelerator, as well as the founder of GeriatRx. So, really good seeing you all tune in, showing some love, and yeah, just taking time out your day to find out what the scoop is in the world of deprescribing. I'm your favorite geriatric pharmacist. And if you don't know me, I'll introduce myself. I created GeriatRx 4 years ago. Well, this is our fourth year of business in 2020 when, of course, COVID started. And I got pretty much fed up with the world of retail pharmacy and, well, frankly, just having other people tell me how to run my life. And so, out of frustration with not just my own career path, but in seeing how much our older adults need a personal advocate, personal pharmacist to be that navigator for them. That really led me into the world of creating this company. And of course, I've talked about my grandmother being a victim of inappropriate prescribing when she was in her older years. And, I'm on a mission to make de-prescribing the standard of care, not just as pharmacists, but in the aging industry. So, welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm coming back at you live. Generally, we'll have our red pill versus blue pills every Thursday, our live webinar series where we highlight the need for all of us, not just pharmacists, to quarterback de-prescribing conversations and use our voice to advocate for those who maybe not realize that, hey, it's time to get off that omeprazole. It's time to get off that muscle relaxer. And it's time to have a conversation about it. So Kaya is just as hype as I am, clearly. What's up, homie? she's she's annoyed at these other dogs taking more than 20 medications at a time. So she has every right to be mad, but I get it. I get it, homie. But hey, thank you for tuning in. I wanted to give you all a little bit of tea of what's been good in my world and kind of summarize what's been happening for the first half of the year as we go into I guess third quarter, second quarter. But no, life has been pretty good, man. I can't even complain. Life has been great. The movement has continued to muster forward. And so in the last few weeks, we wrapped up our fourth cohort of the Deprescribing Accelerator. So I have to commend our alumni, our students. We had 4 amazing Deprescribers graduate. We've got Dr. Linda McClanahan. We've got Dr. Ann Berg, Dr. Tracy Faulkner, and the lovely Miss Kathleen Gordon. So 3 geriatric pharmacists and 1 social worker, all within the aging landscape. And they're taking our course really to new heights. I mean, I cannot gush enough about how proud I am of my students, of my deprescribing advocates. They have taken this course to a whole new height. I have to shout out Linda, based in Texas, who has shown so much growth, but not just growth. I mean, she got patients within the first 2 weeks of taking our program and is still getting more patients. In fact, I got to give her a call after this, as she had another one last week that we went over. So she is building her concierge practice again, using the power of deprescribing. Have to give another shout out to my girl, Dr. Tracy Faulkner, who is now entering the world of patient advocacy and leveraging deprescribing with her BCGP. And so now the amount of work these guys have done, I mean, it has been just amazing to see them run with it and build their own brand by serving their communities first. And so that is what makes me tick. That's what makes me happy. And seeing my students get the results that they have invested to achieve. And of course, Dr. Ann Berg, who is also medical cannabis expert extraordinaire, kind of a jack of all trades, but she is looking to leverage this in her practice as well, particularly maybe looking at the pain management landscape or addiction landscape while using some pharmacogenomics, which is a part of our process flow. So with all them joining, Kathleen, of course, another one, she's a social worker who has a particularly vested interest in placements. And so she would help older adults with facility placements. And something I learned and took away from her were that some facilities don't accept patients primarily because they may be on too many meds, which could be an incentive for, I don't know, deprescribing. So I had no clue that some people would be hesitant to take those who are on too much, primarily probably looking at the medication administration aspect of it. So her insights were extremely invaluable. She was the first social worker to join our Deprescribing Accelerator, and eventually this will branch out to include more of our PTs, our OTs, the entire interdisciplinary angle within the aging landscape. So I cannot gush enough about the progress they have all made, the impact that they're making in their patients' lives, the way that they're using the skill sets from our course to advocate on behalf of patients, to have those tough conversations with providers, but again, to make them aware of how unstoppable we are when you start living in your passion. And that's the core of this, is serving in our capacity and our gifts. And so, yeah, I'm psyched to say that they are all graduated and will be now certified Deprescribing advocates. We are looking to start our next cohort likely in September. So if you are interested, go on ahead, join our wait list. That's commented below. It's listed in there. And you'll be the first to know when we start blasting those emails on if you are ready to start the fun come fall. All right. But enough about them and their amazing work. Just want to give you all a bit of a lay of the land of what's been going on with me the last 4 to 6 months. And what's going on in the future. We got some wins we want to celebrate. So I guess we'll start with the wins and then go into some challenges and then give you some updates on some of the projects that we're working on. So let's start with some of the wins. So this quarter, what's been amazing for me? A big win, I would say, for me was honestly attending the American Geriatric Society. I really felt reinvigorated. I felt like it was home. I felt like just being in the room with so many passionate people and aging was refreshing. And yeah, I felt there was a bit of a close-knit community there that really solidified the calling that this journey has taken me on. And yeah, apart from meeting with my mentors, connecting with other like-minded physicians, NPs, researchers, pretty much you name it, people are involved in the deprescribing efforts, especially where the United States Deprescribing Network had a showcase on the first day. And they essentially gave us all the tea on the most current guidelines, the most recent updates and breakthroughs in clinical trial development, in exploratory studies and methodologies, community-based deprescribing, you name it, everything that encompasses the stuff that makes me tick, right? Addressing polypharmacy, identifying prescribing cascades, all the stuff that makes me nerd out was in one room. And so being able to meet the principal investigators, to connect with dope people, I can't lie. That was the piece that made me tick. And it was just affirming in that, wow, it's just like we need more pharmacists here, man. Like there were actually quite a good bit. There was a pharmacist networking brunch, I believe the second or third day. So I would say it was probably probably a good 50 people in that room, which is pretty robust. It's not bad for a conference of this size. Thousands of people. But I want more, right? We have so much power, and so a big win from that conference was meeting Todd Semla. He actually was the editor for the most recent, and he was actually the lead editor for the most recent release of the 2023 or 2022 Beers List criteria. So Todd is a pretty dope guy, pretty passionate. I've been listening to some of his podcasts and work, along with meeting Dr. Michael Steinman, one of the lead geriatricians behind the USD Prescribing Network, and also staff at UCSF. And yeah, they've just been so warm and refreshing to again solidify what we teach in the world of prescribing, not whether it's a patient, caregiver, or provider. But this conference was sick. I mean, it was everything I needed to not only better my program and quality audit it, but it was the people, right? That's what it's about, is meeting dope people who are just as passionate. So AGS was a huge win, becoming a member of AGS. I highly encourage it for those, especially those maybe already involved with ASCP, the consortium of geriatric pharmacists. But check out what they're doing with AGS, and I encourage you to consider joining next year. I don't get any incentive, but I felt it was well worth the investment. So that was a big win, was attending AGS. What else this quarter? This quarter, we undoubtedly have received the most patient referrals in history of geriatrics, straight up. And a lot of it was the culmination of previous speaking engagements. A lot of it, frankly, was the power of word of mouth and just doing good work. So, in the beginning, you're like, what the hell am I doing? Nothing's happening. But I would say the 3 years of boots to the ground, doing the most everywhere, anywhere, all at once, that is paying off more now. And so I have not had so many client referrals. Honestly, back to back like this. So it's been rewarding. It's been gratifying. It's been amazing, of course, knowing that people trust me and can see the work we do and that I live by what I say. And so it shows. And so, again, even if there are people who just have general questions, I'm still doubling down on that value and helping people navigate this maze we call healthcare. So that was a huge blessing from above. Was just, again, having people speak about my work ethic in other rooms. And that's what leads to clients. So doing the work, testifying, and having your work speak for itself. So tapping into that world has been amazing. What other wins for me? I would say there were some personal wins for me, particularly in the not stressing every damn thing syndrome. Because I don't have everything perfect, we get stuck in this perfectionism trap, which doesn't even exist. So I've been really trying to unpack some of the root causes of where that stems from, whether it be childhood, whether it be environmental, or this little voice that's just been telling me what to do for those amount of time. But trying to unpack where that root cause issue came from through therapy and through Reiki healing and through just being more mindful, meditation, those have actually helped. And so trying to work on my habits, just little things we do each day is really what makes the biggest impact. But those habits, trying to get that in solidified, has been quite game changing. If I can give any advice, is that's been game changing for me and how I show up for myself. But yeah, so other wins, family's doing good. I can't complain. Proud of my little sis. She's pretty much full-fledged into her photography nature business. So she's all about sustainable photography. So seeing her finally launch her website and put her work online, even though she's as perfectionist as I am, makes me a proud big brother. So super, super psyched to see her progress and see that she got her very first sale. Was a huge gratifying moment for me and the rest of the family. Brother's doing good. He had an amazing event. He's a DJ in Atlanta, but more than that, he signed to Universal and does a lot of A&R scout. And he curates this crazy Afro beat mashup sessions vibe all across Atlanta every other Sunday. So fam is doing good. In the world of GeriatRx, man, another dope win. Again, I may have mentioned before that I'm excited to announce again that we've received our first mini collaboration grant with Duke Health, along with AME Zion churches, which are Black African American Methodist churches here in the Triangle. And they're a coalition of 17 parishes where we'll be piloting the stuff I preach. We'll be putting to the study the power of deprescribing using pharmacogenomics mixed with the Vione methodology. So we had a geriatrician, Dr. Sarah Batar, come on before as one of our guests, and we walked through the importance of the Vione method, right? With every medication, is it considered to be vital? Is it important? Is it optional? Is it is every not needed? Basically, the med is no longer needed anymore. And E is, does every medication have an indication? Again, this is based off of the VA and their Vione methodology, developed by Dr. Sarah Batar and her team of interdisciplinary experts. And so what we're going to do is continue that work. And from her brainchild, we're going to be putting this methodology into parishes across the Triangle through AME Zion churches in partnership with Duke, Clinical Translational Science Institute, and the AME Zion churches, and of course, GeriatRx. So I am so excited. That is probably my most exciting project that I am working on, which is, again, empowering communities that look like me to talk about medication management. What are their initial thoughts of deprescribing? Have they heard about deprescribing? Have they ever had conversations about this with their provider? What are their fears or concerns about getting off medications, if there are any? These are the type of preliminary questions we're going to be asking them as we roll this into a future larger scale study, R01, hopefully down the road in the next year or two, to get our first, probably a bigger $1 million grant. We're shooting for the stars, but we're starting small. But this is my most exciting project, easily. It's just the amount of reception we've had from the pastors on those calls who have personal experiences with loved ones lost to polypharmacy, lost to debilitating side effects, and just poor outcomes because no one's having those conversations. People were in tears. People were in tears in some of these calls. And the fact that it resonates deeper than just, my general passion is just, it's mind blowing to have that responsibility. So I am greatly humbled. I'm so excited that that's been funded, and we're going to start working this summer on some planning projects around that. We're going to start, of course, deeper in the fall, but we're getting things lined up now to engage the churches on how to best implement this. So are we going to use, virtual workshops? Are we going to have deprescribing ambassadors among the 17 churches? We're going to try to hash all that. In fact, later today, we have a meeting in a couple hours to discuss the finer details of that. So that I am most psyched about. We'll get that rolling towards the fall and hopefully roll out some good data as we meet as a team to figure out the best approach logistically to roll out community-based deprescribing. So gotta give some huge thanks there. And I was actually able to share that announcement at the American Geriatric Society. And I mean, I have to thank everyone who walked up to me after to just lend a helping hand, right? To simply say, hey, you got to talk to this guy if you're going to do this. Like, hey, I'm curious about your metrics. How are you going to measure? So those people who got my brain thinking about the next steps, I'm forever indebted. And yes, I have been reaching out to those folks who they want me to follow up with. So they are all top of mind as we start piloting out this awesome US deprescribing network pilot. So again, a huge thanks to Dr. Michael Steinman, who approved this pilot study and is providing the funding for us to work on this, along with, of course, thanking the US deprescribing network in whole. So the goal, if you don't know, they have these pilot awards every year. There's a mini one that is for $60,000, pretty much abroad about anything deprescribing. And then there's a larger study that they have, or larger grant, that's focused on benzodiazepine deprescribing. That one's a $120,000 grant, also funded by the Contemporary Alternative Medicine CAM division of our NIH. And so they, in partnership with USDN, are looking for any modality to reduce benzos, whether it be cannabis, sleep hygiene, yoga, mindfulness, you name it, any alternative approach to medicine. They're funding a $120,000 pilot. Of course, it's I believe it's past the deadline now, but they'll probably re-release it come the fall, come December, if not January 2024. So anyway, super excited about that. What else is going on in my world? So I may have mentioned earlier on, we are slated to have our very first TED Talk. We are doing TEDx Ocala. I believe it's the second weekend of November this year. So check us out down in Florida. And guess what we'll be talking about? The power of deprescribing. You already know. So we'll be doing our very first TED Talk. Super psyched for that, of course. Gotta thank Manal Fakhri for inviting me and allowing me to speak on that platform. And yeah, that's going to be a big one. Of course, I'll be sharing the story of my reason behind geriatrics. I'll be, of course, sharing, why I left a six-figure salary to do this, why, my grandmother almost became a statistic, Mildred, when it came to inappropriate medication use. And yeah, how we all have a role to deprescribe, whether you're a pharmacist, nurse, social worker, prescriber, frankly, caregiver, patient, advocate. Everyone has a role if you're touching a patient and you see them in harm's way, truthfully. So there are ways to monetize that. So that's my job, to teach you how to monetize that. Another big, awesome win. We got approved to be a national speaker for the American Society of Consultant Pharmacists. So yay, my proposal on how to leverage and monetize deprescribing has been approved by ASCP. So if you want to get the real lowdown, we are hosting a focus group during the national conference in October in Kissimmee, Florida. So get your tickets, get lined up. See you at ASCP. We had the privilege and honor speaking last year, kind of like doing a mini 15-minute TED Talk, but on the power of deprescribing. Now we are doing a more focused group talking about leveraging and monetizing deprescribing. So looking at some of those non-traditional partnerships pharmacists can leverage to have a sustainable business. So we're going to talk more about that, coming from, of course, my own personal experience and seeing what my students are also doing from our Deprescribing Accelerator. So don't want to miss that. Come through the ASCP. But I'm excited. So that got approved middle of May. So excited for that. So thank you to the board who accepted my proposal, and to Chad Wars for supporting the mission. So that's ASCP. What else is going on in my world? Oh yeah, projects. Yeah. We've got some projects going, man. I'm gonna name a couple, not to give y'all every damn thing I'm doing, but one of the more exciting ones that I'm really ramping up for is working with Scan Health. So if you're not familiar with Scan Health, we've been in talks for a couple of months, honestly, about conducting deprescribing workshops and seminars for their pharmacy staff. And so now we are looking to do an intensive deprescribing workshop, hopefully in the fall, highlighting, of course, some of the updated guidelines around literature, for instance, like the newer beers list that came out last month, the new version of the stop-start criteria, version 3, just released a couple of weeks ago. So we'll be highlighting not just the new clinical tools out there, but we're looking to really sharpen some of the tools and tricks that I use in practice within, well, the only nonprofit Medicare Advantage plan that exists in this country. Again, Scan Health. So they caught my eye, particularly because of their invested interest in medication optimization, adherence, and deprescribing. They seem to be very forward thinking on how to reduce some of those costs on the insurance end, as well as, of course, looking for opportunities for deprescribers to let us flex our beautiful muscles. So I'm hoping this partnership, well, I'm willing this partnership will lead into continued work, and not just conducting like in-services, but really scaling the mission of deprescribing from the payer perspective, right? So we're tackling it from that cost avoidance, cost savings perspective, similar to what the Vion model did for the VA and saving, $160 million in just a couple of years of its inception. So yeah, I got to give a huge shout out and thanks to, of course, Dr. Sharon Jawar, Dr. Matthew Din, and I believe Dr. Priscilla, all of them who have been involved in touch with me and keeping up with bases. So yeah, now we're gonna hopefully knock out this deprescribing webinar / workshop. It's gonna be very interactive. It'll be including case vignettes. We'll be having an outline of prescribing cascades. We're going to be, of course, discussing empathetic-based shared decision-making when it comes to working with patients who want to get involved with the deprescribing process. And we're going to be giving their staff pharmacists the tools to quarterback the deprescribing effort within their own world or clinics. So I'm excited to see, again, the touch points of the reach of geriatrics and our deprescribing mission come to fruition. So shout out to Scan Health. Love what they're doing already. So that's why I'm invested in trying to make that really work for them and their people and have some of those quantifiable results. Okay. So that's a big project. What else we got? Oh man, we've got some amazing things underway with the Allegheny Area Agency on Aging. So I have to give some love to Dr. Shanna Gilliam, who I met at the American Society of Aging, who expressed a lot of interest in deprescribing and how can we bring some of that from the community to target some of our AAAs within Allegheny County. So one of my missions is to hopefully help with consulting and training some of their staff on how to implement this in practice. So we are going to be meeting actually tomorrow with another series of meetings to get this going. But needless to say, this will be a huge undertaking, right? Trying to scale a deprescribing initiative across 40 potentially different senior care centers is a huge undertaking, but I'm excited. It's what I'm here for. But that's where that project will be going. And we're hoping to, of course, get more stakeholders involved with that quality of life that I think the meds may be taken away from, right? So huge, huge, huge shout out and love to them and the Allegheny Area Agency on Aging for allowing us to work with them going forward and put the need for deprescribing it in all touch points in our communities. So very big project. I'm really excited for that one. From all of them, I'm excited for all of them, really. Yeah, and in terms of some other stuff, really, I'm still unearthing awesome strategic partnerships. Again, I've been looking at non-traditional relationships to grow the brand, and you'd be surprised who becomes that target audience when we dissect where some of them are coming from. But I won't spill the tea on that. That's only for my Deprescribing Accelerator students who take our program. However, it's been fruitful, and I can say it has absolutely changed the life of some of my students, as well as the reception we've gotten this year in terms of some of our larger contracts. So excited there. Yeah, so those are some good wins. On a personal note, gotta give a shout out to Dr. Amina Abubakar and her lovely work at the Avant Institute. She is helping to coordinate my vacation, right? Because we can't do all the things and not rest. So I have the pleasure of having her plan our trip to Kenya. So she is doing a 10-day safari plan for GeriatRx, as well as some of my mentors and colleagues. So huge, huge shout out for facilitating this lovely luxury travel experience. So huge shout out to Rojo Voyage. So we're going to be in Kenya for most of July. And then, yeah, we'll be off for July. So I know, I'm sorry. I'll see y'all in August, but I'll be off for July. We'll be in Kenya, Ghana, and Tanzania. So I kind of felt, hey, if I'm going to go to Kenya, there's no point flying back and going back to Tanzania. I may as well just stay for the month. So God has been good. We're going to stay and rest. So you may see me online, but you're not going to see me online. You get what I'm saying? But yeah, we'll be off for the month of July. So if you need me, just, send me a message, but I still probably won't respond until August. So I'm excited for that. Any other wins for now? Well, our patients are getting deprescribed. I mean, that's standard to me. That's like normal Delon conversation with me. So a couple of our clients are getting some good luck with their turnaround and reducing some of those pill burdens. We've got a current client right now who started with us on 18. We're in the process of getting her down to 10. It's been about 2.5 months. And yeah, we're trying to get that 10 down to 5. So that's ongoing. We've got a couple more months to get to that point. But again, success is all around. They're socially engaged. They're doing happier. They're working out more. Can't even complain. Had a lot of new clients that also came about with kind of like non-traditional requests, like more advocacy pieces. For instance, we have one who felt that there was like a malpractice or lack of care going on, and they were using us to figure out, how do I get an elder care attorney, or how do I, go through the hoops of filing with the ombudsman, all that things that I'm not the most savvy of, but I've had to learn, and if not, lean on others to support. So helping that patient with that case has been quite interesting, but I handed that off or helped hand that off to another pharmacist colleague to handle that case. But yeah, I mean, your patients are doing great, just glad to see that again, I'm getting calls and coming up with creative ways to get them off pills. Let's see, what's another cool thing? Challenges. What's been going on with challenges lately? I would say for me, which probably has been an ongoing challenge anyway, where, let's see, what were the biggest challenges? Initially this year, the biggest challenge was not letting go of this stuff, man. Like in terms of, I cannot do all the things. Like it doesn't make any damn sense for me to do every single thing at this point in business. Now, in the beginning, sure, you're doing everything because it's just you. There isn't capital to like hire folks yet, but I've been quite stubborn in letting go of some responsibilities. And this year I am switching that off. I'm changing that. I am now thinking about who to do what so that I can free up myself to, of course, dedicate to these projects, right? These bigger tasks that I got to tackle. So I'm grateful to have had so many wonderful people genuinely come into this business with the intent of just serving. And I mean, that is tantamount to just building this culture for my company. So I need people who just care more than are trying to get paid. And so to have this amazing person, I have to give her a huge shout out. She used to be a former director of nursing. She now is on staff for CareTree, which is a platform to help manage basically patients' care who are dealing as a care manager for families in need of their loved ones. And so her name is Holly Ray, and she has been interning with us for a couple months as our executive director slash operations manager person. So Holly, I have to give you a huge, huge shout out. You've been such a trooper. You've been positive. You've been doing the most, even without being told what to do. You still think forward 10 steps ahead. So for that, I just have to give you some huge thanks. And again, having the patience with me as I initially was like, I don't want to let go of this. Where now I'm like, nah, just take it, run with it. But I absolutely trust her, and she has been golden, frankly, in the last 3 months of having her on board. So, Holly Ray, thank you, thank you, thank you for everything you've done. Gotta give a shout out to another awesome person, James Young. He's a future doctor in the building, future medical doc, wants to get into family med. And he's been helping us with more the marketing and sales piece. So James has offered his services as a pharmaceutical rep at one point, or still is, to help with growing a mission, growing a band. And yeah, so I got to give a huge shout out to James Young. And I got to give another shout out to one of my mentees, but also advocates and volunteers, Jeannie Davies. So huge, huge shout out to her. She's a sweetheart with her MPH and data mining skills. She has that organizational gift that I lack. So again, this season I'm in is about building the team and letting go not just hoarding all the things and doing all the things and then burning myself out because I'm like, damn, I haven't given this away. So that's been my challenge, is giving this stuff away to people who I trust, to continue to grow the Deprescribing mission. And another challenge in the beginning has been really the lack of grace for myself, man. Like, I'm a hard ass. I'm real cool when other people mess up, but when I mess up, I'm like the worst. I'm my own worst enemy. So the beginning was tough, but I would say the last 3 months, getting in tune with being outside more, being in nature more, walking out barefoot, just kind of grounding myself a bit, not defining every hiccup as the end of the world has been helpful. It's been relieving versus the nagging stress I put on myself. So I would say the practices of gratitude and of I want to move. Just really the practices of gratitude and the practices of changing the negative self-talk has been critical. It really has been critical, really, and it's helping me show up a bit differently and a bit more confidently in how I approach situations, problems, and even feedback going forward. So that was quite a burden in the beginning, where everything kind of relied on this working, right? The business, but it's a journey, and you're not going to get everything right, frankly. So having that grace to not kill myself if it's not going to plan has been a huge difference I've noticed in myself in the last 6 months. And energetically, just manifesting dope stuff and dope people has been, I'm not gonna use that loosely either. I hate when people use that loosely, but changing the mindset has led to things happening. I cannot. I'll add that to the win list. But this season I'm in, it is uncanny. It is uncanny how I would think something in 2 weeks it happens. Like I've never experienced this in my life. I don't even know what this means. Synchronicity, manifesting, whatever. I don't know what this means, but I can tell you I would say about the last 8 months, 10 months, it's been like I would think something in a way that's like I will this to happen. I want this to happen, and it happens. I would think about someone and they will call me within the next day, or I'll be like, oh, I was about to text you, and they text me first. Like, it's weird, but it's been happening damn near every other day for the last 6 months. I don't know what that is. I don't know what that means. I know that I've been trying to attune myself a bit more spiritually. And to me, I can only interpret it as God, but I don't know what that means. All I know is it is happening. So I'm going to keep doubling down on that and staying grateful for whatever that is and ride it, you know? Yeah. Other challenges. I think the other challenges are mainly personal, mainly like family stuff. Just make sure the family is good. You know, not worrying about things I can't always control internally. Setting boundaries with family. That's interesting. Having to say no to loved ones is an interesting lesson to learn. But at one point, you have to protect your own peace. So that's something I didn't think I would have to do. But now it's a requirement to live. So I am cool with that approach. Another win, but also was a challenge, was saying no. Saying no. Oh God. Saying no. Saying no was a huge issue. I wasn't doing it enough and I would run myself ragged. So now I'm just being selfish with my time. So it feels good. It feels good to not try to people please or not try to do all the things so that I can focus on the stuff that pays me and works. So saying no was a barrier in the beginning, actually a lot of the time. And I would say more so now, it's the no season for DeLon. So no more pro bono stuff, guys. Sorry, I love you, but unless you're like a community service volunteer thing, I'm not just showing up on your podcasts anymore. Okay, I'm not doing that. So I love you though. Don't get me wrong. It's there for a season. I love all y'all, but we're not doing that anymore. I've made my mark on that. Love you though. Things for the fall. We have a couple things lined up. Apart from the TED Talk, I'll be in Atlanta August 18th. I'll be helping with my homegirl, my good friend, Lori James Dixon. She's created this huge event called the Purple Chair, and she's got this fundraising event for dementia caregivers, particularly that are Black or Latino, in Atlanta, Georgia. And so we've got some heavy hitters that'll be there. Louis Gossett Jr., Keith, I forgot that guy's name, Keith David, the guy who voiced Goliath and Gargoyles. And I don't know, he's a pretty dope guy. Some actors, some celebrities. So I'll be one of the panelists there, one of the panelists discussing brain health and understanding which medications can worsen cognition. So I'll be a speaker on that panel. Yeah, and of course, we'll be launching our fall cohort of the Deprescribing Accelerator in September. So check out that and our waitlist, as I mentioned. And then, of course, I mentioned, our deprescribing pilot study with the AME churches, the Heal Zion group. So that's a big one I'm excited for. Really the most of all the projects I'm working on. So tons of good stuff in the works. Tons of good stuff, really. Yeah, but I would love to know, what your thoughts are. What have y'all seen from my world? I'm curious. I kind of just do things and don't remember I did them. So I'd love to know if you have seen a difference in how I show up or the content or lessons you've taken away, whether it be entrepreneurship or even just personal growth. I'm still meeting amazing people every day, whether it be through social media or whether it be through networking in person. Everyone needs a deprescribing pharmacist. Like it's not even rocket science now. Everyone I talk to about what I do resonates with what I do. So there's a proof of concept that any pharmacist with a passion for this can do this. And that's why we're seeing dope pharmacists start their own consulting practice, right? Whether it be through, of course, functional medicine, whether it be through their own concierge pharmacists, whether it's point of care testing, whether it's mindfulness, fertility. There's so many avenues. So it's like people are freaking tired of our health system. Like there's no sugarcoating it now. Everyone's mad at it. The clinicians are mad at it. The providers are mad at it. The payers are mad at it. The people are mad at it. So this is the prime opportunity to just do something different. I don't think everyone has to jump into entrepreneurship, but if you're fed up, you can't keep doing the same thing. That's all I'm going to say. But when I network, I literally just say I'm a deprescribing pharmacist. I help people get off pills, and I'm tired of older adults dying from meds. And I get leads and contacts and public speaking engagements just from that. And I want that joy to happen to all of you. And you don't have to be a pharmacist to make it happen. I think we all have a role there, which, I've been preaching to the cows come home, but that's what's up with GeriatRx. Some contracts, new patients, new speaking engagements, new projects internationally. We've got a project we're working out in England, which I will share more details about as those come to fruition, as I can't disclose them yet. But we got some projects in England. I'm excited for that. So all is good. All is good. So tell me your thoughts. Tell me what you're thinking. Love to hear from you. Appreciate you all tuning in. And we'll talk until next time. See you next week. Take care.